Welcome to this Selenium tutorial on radio button in Selenium Webdriver. A radio button is a web element that belongs to a group of radio buttons. You can select exactly one radio button in that group. If you select another radio button, the previous radio button gets deselected. Let us see radio buttons example now. Now this is my blog, Software Testing Space, and there is a quiz on Selenium Webdriver on this blog. And there are some questions followed by answers here. If I select a particular radio button, that radio button gets selected. Now in this group, if I select another radio button, the previous one will get deselected. So that means exactly one radio button from that group can be selected. Here is the test case of radio button in Selenium. Now this is the test step column and this is the expected results column. So the first test step is go to the quiz link, and the second test step is select a radio button for a question, and the expected results are that only that radio button which was selected should be checked and the answer should show correct. I will use MaxTAF, the free cloud Selenium Java platform. It is very simple to use MaxTAF. All you need to do is to create a free account and start scripting Selenium Webdriver with Java. Now I'll open MaxTAF now. This is the link of MaxTAF. It is also available in the description in this video. I will show how to select a particular radio button in Selenium Webdriver. I'll also explain Selenium and Java commands in the Selenium Webdriver tutorial. So I've created a free account and I'm logging in now. In the last video I created a project called project 1, and there were few test cases in it which I can see here. Now in MaxTAF, after clicking on cases, I want to create a new case. So I'll click on the create button and call the case as radio test case 1 and select the template as Selenium hello world, so it fills up the sample code for me, and click on the create button. So MaxTAF has created the case and I can click on the script tab and see the sample code here. Now within the sample code, the important method is the test, and here it is going to the Wikipedia link. Instead of the Wikipedia link, I wanted to go to the software testing space blog, so I am going to replace it with the link of the software testing space blog. Next, what I can do is, instead of just being here, I can go to the Selenium Webdriver quiz on the blog. So again use webdriver.get method, and get basically navigates to the link, and I have pasted the link here. Now Selenium Webdriver has some useful methods for navigation. So the first one is driver.navigate.back, which is equivalent to pressing the back button on the browser. So let me implement that. Driver.navigate.back. So this is going to take from the Webdriver quiz back to the home page of the browser. The opposite method is driver.navigate.forward, which is equivalent to pressing the forward button on the browser. So I'll implement that one, driver.navigate.forward. And there is one more method in Selenium Webdriver to refresh the web page, that is simply driver.navigate.refresh. So let me write that down also. And you can see in MaxTAF there is autocomplete available, so you don't have to type out the whole command. Now after this, I don't need all this code that was the sample code, and I'm going to click on the save button to save my case and run it. Click on the run button compiles it and then runs it. So we have to click on the run button again, and now you can see MaxTAF has started running the case. The state is now started, and once the state is completed, then we can see the video to see actually what happened. Now the state is completed. I can scroll here and open the video, maximize it to see it full screen, and now click on the play button. So here you see that MaxTAF has launched the Chrome browser, and it navigated to the software testing space blog, the home page, which was the first link, and then it navigated to the Selenium Webdriver quiz, which was the second link. And again, because we had given driver.navigate.back, it came back to the home page, and then because we had given driver.navigate.forward, it went forward and then refreshed the web page, and the test case completed. Before I show you how to handle radio button in Selenium WebDriver, I just want to explain a couple of Java variable types. One type is string. String is the variable type that we use to store some text, and a string in Java is enclosed in double quotes. For example, here we have the string hi, and it is enclosed by double quotes on both sides. And the second variable data type is int. Int is useful for storing whole numbers, meaning there are no places after the decimal point. There is no decimal point only. For instance, 1, 55, 123, and so on. Now I am going to write the code to handle the radio button in Selenium. I don't need this link, so I can either delete this line or I can use single line comment. Single line comment in Java is implemented by 2 forward slashes. So this comments out the line, meaning this line won't be executed. Then I don't need these 3 lines, navigate, dot back, forward, and refresh. So instead of commenting it line by line using single line comment, I can comment out this whole block. For that, in Java, forward slash and star to begin the comment, and star and forward slash to end the comment. Now here the first thing I have to do is I have to select which radio button I want to select. So the type of that is web element, and I can call it radio 1 or give any variable name. And WebDriver has the method driver.findElement, and here we have to give the locator. Now locator means how Selenium WebDriver will find out that it is a particular web element. Now in the quiz, in this question, so let us say I want to check this radio button. So I have to right click on it and click on inspect, and the browser shows that it is an input box and its ID is 11 and name is choice 1. So I can use either ID or name. So let me use the ID. So the locator here in MaxTAF, I can give it as web element radio 1 is equal to driver.findElement, and I can use the by library by ID, and the ID that we saw or we can copy from there is 11. So now WebDriver would find this particular radio button. Then in order to check that radio button, all we need to do is to call the click method on it. Radio 1 dot click. Now MaxTAF has the logging facility available. So in order to use that, I can write mx service dot add log line, and here I can give anything I want to log. So for instance, I can say a Selenium radio button is checked. I also need to find out the answer. So for that I can either right click on it and click on inspect element, or I can click on this pointer and I want to find this one. So this is again an input box and its name is answer1. So I have to use the name, ID is not there. So let me copy answer1 from here. Now I have to find the answer. So either I can give a web element and then try to find it, or I can straight away find out what is the value given in that. So let me create a web element first. Web element answer is equal to, or we can give answer box driver dot find element, and again use the by library by name, and within brackets we have to give, it was answer1 what we copied from there. Now I have to find out what is the answer text given in that input box. So I can create another variable string and call it answer text, and this is going to contain answer dot, I have to extract the value attribute. So answer dot get attribute, and the name of the attribute is value, and end it with a semicolon. So I have the answer text here. Now I can log it for debugging purpose. So copy this line and paste it here. The actual answer is answer text, and this is called string concatenation in Java. Basically there are two strings. One string is this whole thing, the actual answer is, and the other string is the value of the answer text variable. It is going to combine those two and put them in the log. Now I have to find out if correct with a capital C exists in the answer. So I am going to create a variable of type int. So int result is equal to, and how we find it is in answer text. There is a method called index of to find one string within another string. Now based on whether correct with a capital C was found or not, result is either going to contain the position where it was found in the answer text, or if it was not found, result is going to contain -1. Now because result can take either a greater than or equal to 0 value if it finds correct with the capital C, or -1 if it is unable to find correct. So I have to use Java if-else statement. The syntax or format of the Java if-else statement is if, then we give the condition in brackets, and if the condition is true, this code block within the curly braces will be run. On the other hand, if the condition is false, then this code block will be skipped and the code block given after else will be run. So now I am going to implement the if-else statement in Java. So if result is greater than or equal to 0, that means correct with a capital C was found. So this is the if block, and I can put mx service dot add log line and log that the question was correctly answered. else, and copy this from here and paste it here, else the question was incorrectly answered. And after the if statement, I have to give an assertion. So my assertion can be assert dot assert equals. I'm expecting the result to be 0 because correct starts from the very first position in the answer, and give a semicolon. Now click on save, and I want to see if there are any syntax errors or not. So instead of run directly, I can just compile it, and the case is compiled, and let me run it now. Click on the run button again, and MaxTAF has started running the case. And this time, because I've implemented logging, I can see the log messages directly instead of going to the video. So here it says a Selenium radio button is checked, the actual answer is incorrect, and the question was incorrectly answered. That is because the very first radio button is the incorrect answer. So how about this radio button? This is the correct answer, and right click on it and inspect element. So here the ID is 13. So let me test whether it works with the correct answer. If I give the ID as 13 and save it and run it, I'm expecting that this time the question would be correctly answered. Now here we can see the result is passed now, and here we can see the log. A Selenium radio button is checked, the actual answer is correct, the question was correctly answered. And we can actually go and verify from the video playback also. In fact, let me just see towards the end. So here it actually checked the third radio button and the answer was correct. Next in this Selenium tutorial, I will enhance this test case to select the radio buttons automatically until the answer is correct. So for that I need few more variables. Now let us see the remaining variable types in Java. One is a float, which is a number with decimals, for example 1.23. Then there is a char, which is for a single character. It can be like a capital A, lowercase b, and note that in char it is enclosed by single quotes on both sides, here also. And there is a boolean data type, which can be either true or false. Example of a boolean value is true. I am going to use the Java while loop, and the format or syntax of the Java while loop is, after while we give a condition in brackets, and within curly braces is the code block to run. So what happens is that it checks the condition. If the condition is true, the code block is run. Again it goes back, checks the condition. If the condition is still true, the code block is run again, and it keeps doing that. And when it checks the condition is false, it comes outside the while loop. Now in MaxTAF, I don't want to repeat the code that is already written. So what I can do is I can duplicate the test case by clicking on the duplicate button here, and click on duplicate. So MaxTAF has created a duplicate test case. Click on the script tab, and all the code that was previously written is here. Now I'm going to delete the extra lines of code. So I don't need this, and I don't need driver.navigate.back, forward and refresh. and I can declare my variables. So the first variable is of the string data type, and I'm going to call it just answer, and I need a counter in the while loop. So byte is for integers which are from -127 to 128. So I am going to use it to run the while loop from 1 to 4, and then I can declare the result variable here of type integer, and I also want a boolean variable and assign it an initial value of false. Then the Java while loop, after while we have to give a condition while I less than or equal to 4, and then give the code block here. Now in the code block, the first line is going to be the radio button, so I need to declare it here, web element radio button, and within the while loop I can find that element. So radio button is equal to driver dot find element. I'm going to find it by ID, and the ID is going to be dynamic, meaning that it's going to be first radio button has ID 11, second radio button has ID 12, third radio button has ID 13, and so on. So I can put 1 plus I. So what's going to happen is that it's going to take the value of I, and first time the value of I is going to be 1, so the ID will be 1 1. Second time the while loop runs, the value of I will be 2 and the ID will be 1 2, and so on. Now I need to click this radio button in order to select it and check it. So radio button dot click, and then I can give this log line and indent it also. So here I can say radio button I should not now be checked, and then I want to find out the answer, which is what I already implemented. So let me declare answer, and here I can find the answer. I don't have to give the declaration again, and copy it from here and paste it here. So this time I need another, this is the string, let me call it answer text, and answer text is driver dot find element. So whatever input box was there, and here I can give dot get attribute value. Now once I get the answer text, I can log it. So here I want the actual answer is, and use plus for string concatenation, answer text. Now I need to find the result, so which should already be here. So copy this line and paste it here. So I'm going to find correct within the answer text. Now the if statement, if result is equal to 0, Then what I want to do is the text has been found, correct with a capital C has been found. Then mx service dot add log line, the question was correctly answered, and in case the result is 0, that means the correct has been found. I need not continue the while loop, so I can write the break statement, and that will terminate the while loop then and there. It won't continue from that point. And after break, the if statement ends, the code block ends. So here I have to increase the value of I by giving I++, and I don't need all these lines of code. Now once the while loop is complete, depending on the value of found, I can write the assertion. So if found, then assert equals, I can give true. Basically this is the expected value and this is the actual value, so it is going to pass the test case. Else assert equals true false. So this is going to fail the test case depending on the value of found. If found is true, it's going to pass the test case, else fail the test case. Now let me save this test case, and I want to compile it to see if there are any errors or not. There is an error on line 47, and MaxTAF has shown that. The answer text is driver.findElement by name answer 1, and here it's an extra semicolon dot get attribute value. So let me dismiss this, save it, and compile it again. Okay, get attribute E is missing. Save it and compile it again, and this time the case is compiled, and let me run it now. And what I am expecting is that it will check the radio buttons one by one until it finds the correct answer. MaxTAF has started running the case, and the case is complete. Let us go to log, because we added log lines. So radio button should now be checked, and the first radio button, the actual answer is incorrect. Again, radio button 2 should now be checked, the actual answer is incorrect. Radio button 3 should now be checked, the actual answer is correct. The question was correctly answered. So this way we can use Java along with Selenium, and it will automatically handle all the radio buttons in Selenium one by one. And if I want to update this Selenium Java script for another question, so all I need to do is that instead of 1 here, so let us see question number 2. So in question number 2, which is the correct answer? So the correct answer is the radio button 4. So let us try with that. So here the IDs will be 21, 22, 23 and 24 for the radio buttons. So instead of 1, I can put 2, and answer 1 should have then will be replaced by answer 2, and save it. And this time I am expecting that it will answer the question 2 correctly. The test case is complete, and in the log we can see radio button 1 should be checked, answer is incorrect, 2 is checked, incorrect, 3 is checked, incorrect, 4 is checked, and the answer is correct. And we can verify this by playing the video also. And here we see that it has selected the first radio button, then the second radio button, the answer is still incorrect, the third radio button, the answer is still incorrect, and the fourth radio button, and the answer is correct. So I leave it as an exercise to you to implement this Selenium Java script to answer all the questions in the quiz correctly. Now, MaxTAF Selenium framework using Java provides parameters. Parameters are a very useful feature of MaxTAF. You can set them at the test case level also and other levels. For example, you can write mx.selenium.browser. So by default it is Chrome. You can change the browser from the Chrome default to Edge or Firefox. Another example is we can use repeat on failure, and this basically means that if the test case fails the first time, MaxTAF will run it another 2 times to see if it passes. So let us see an example of this. Now, in order to force a failure in this test case, what I can do is I can maybe run the while loop. Instead of running from 1 to 4 for question number 2, I can just run it from 1 to 3. And let us run this test case, and this time it is going to fail because the correct radio button is the 4th radio button. Click on the run button. MaxTAF has started the test case and it should fail shortly, and the result is it has failed. And let us see the log. So basically it ran only with radio button 1, which was incorrect, 2 incorrect, 3 incorrect. Now I've just given an example here, but we can use the parameters, and here if you see in the main tab there are params given here. So mx.run.case.repeat on failure. So let me give this as 2 and save it, and now run it. So this time what's going to happen is that it's going to run the test case once, it is going to fail. So MaxTAF will run it an additional 2 times just to see if it passes. So this is useful for flaky tests where you have a test case that sometimes it passes and sometimes it fails. The parameters are useful. Repeat on failure, we can specify a value there. And it has already run it once and it failed. It ran it again, it failed, and it is going to run it another time. So this is a useful feature. I'm going to click on go to case and click on the script tab, and I want to correct my test case, update the condition I less than or equal to 4, save it and run it, and this time the test case should pass because the 4th radio button is the correct radio button. I hope that you learned some Selenium WebDriver with Java in this Selenium Java tutorial. Next, in these Selenium tutorials, you will learn how to handle Selenium Java checkbox and more MaxTAF features. So thank you and keep learning.